Doom Patrol, the world's strangest heroes. I'm not gonna lie, hearing that moniker for the first time really turned me off because it gave me such I'm not like other girls energy. Oh look, a robot man, literally called Robot Man, how self-aware. Oh look, we made a TV show where everyone is yelling at each other all the time, swearing, and Alan Tudyk breaks the fourth wall with narration that makes fun of the show's tropes.
All caught up? Good. Let the pretentious title sequence begin.
However, I stuck through the show and it provoked such a strong feeling from me that I actually went out and bought the Blu-ray set to keep the show forever, which in this current climate is the equivalent of me sacrificing my firstborn to David Zaslav. I can't believe how hard I fell in love with this show. I mean, I guess I could, because it's pretty well liked, trauma is part of the brand, but what tips it over the edge was the fact that it's not really a superhero show. Sure, it has seasonal villains, superhero costumes, and the first season has that CW production value where it kind of looks like a kid's program. However, it uses all of these familiar resources to create something deeper, something brutally bittersweet. Doom Patrol is about a bunch of long-living outsiders with superpowers who take refuge in a mansion far away from the normal folk and looked after by Niles Calder, a kind genius in a wheelchair. Yeah, you can see why people say X-Men copied all of this.
I won't be gone long.
However, the outsiders aspect is not a metaphor for minority groups that face prejudice and persecution. Doom Patrol is actually set in a pretty friendly universe where people aren't all that surprised by anything. I mean, it's a DC universe where the Just League exists.
Cool off and try again some other time, alright?
In the first season, Niles is abducted by a villain, played by Alan Tudyk, of course.
I haven't even been in the last 2 episodes.
Thus, the gang has to finally leave home to save him, but they discover Bro is actually behind their conditions.
I was responsible for everything. So I began my experiments in search of true immortality.
All because Niles has a daughter, Dorothy, who can live for over hundreds of years and has imaginary friends that can potentially destroy the world. Therefore, he's a father who's trying to live a day longer than his daughter to make sure she's safe, and the world too. These events in season 2 then push the characters closer to superheroism, but before they officially become a team, they have to look inwards. So the third season is centered around the eternal flagellation, where the gang are forced to confront their various personal traumas and grow out of them.
What you're experiencing is the eternal flagellation. Everyone in the world has swapped places with their subconscious selves.
Why?
Because then no one will be able to hide who they really are anymore. And that is going to rid the world of evil.
Can I skip this?
The final season then explores their final days as a family, as a team, and as beings who could live for so long. Spoilers for those who want to watch the show, but what lifts it from being exceptional to f***ing beautiful for me was the ending. It doesn't close on the hero's greatest achievements or on a funeral, although there is one. It ends with everyone forced to accept that they've outgrown each other and disbanding.
We may all be fractured, but it doesn't mean we can't be whole.
The final image of the show is Robot Man's final moments, where he gets to see how the car he fixed for his grandson will be there for him from childhood to adulthood. But in that life, Rory will make the same mistakes Robot Man did. Leave his wife, waste years before coming back to make things right with his own grandchild.
He's your grandpa.
However, in this moment, where he saw his own life through his grandson's, and therefore also his own father's too, because all 3 generations made the same mistakes, Robot Man finds peace.
I made it home.
What makes this ending hit even harder was how unexpected it was.
I thought I was coming home to live. I think I just came home to die.
But unexpected is the name of the game, because this isn't a superhero world where being a superhero is the answer to the world's problems, nor is it even some sort of great act of personal healing. Doom Patrol instead is about suffering caused by an indifferent and random universe, and its characters are all trying to find some balance between admitting their own roles and having a lifetime of regrets, but also what isn't their faults, so they can all arrive at their own version of this moment. But I've gone a bit ahead of myself. Who is Robot Man anyway? Well, Cliff fucking Steele is played by Brandon fucking Fraser.
Bro, moisturizer.
I think we all need to give credit to our Lord and Savior Doom Patrol for keeping Homie employed with a role where he's a real asshole.
Crash and die, babe.
I love you too, honey.
Cliff is the entry point to the show, a once poor trailer park guy from Florida who grew up with a father who walked out on his mom and is an overall asshole.
Get your ass back here!
So, when he became a famous race car driver while under the continuous support of his wife and daughter, he of course completely got consumed by excess, where party sippy powders and cheating on his wife became his life-ruining addiction.
I say, you. to fatherhood because fatherhood doesn't make me feel special. As a dad, I'm just part of the wallpaper.
That is until he and his wife got killed by Niles Calder on the night he tried to make things right, which led to his dad looking after his daughter. You know, cycles and shit.
But what meant more to me was this man who had cared for me and asked for nothing in return.
Now Cliff is a brain in a tin can suit, unable to feel any physical sensation, imprisoned by his own memories, and for decades was consumed by rage, grief, and an overwhelming desire for connection.
Please, I don't want to be alone with my thoughts again. I can't be the only one who needs to talk.
Cliff, as the first pair of eyes we start with in the show, introduces a weird tonal equilibrium where horror and drama is balanced by a deliberate juvenile energy because, well, he's like a massive screaming baby.
Let's hear it! Yeah!
Cliff is always loud, selfish, volatile, hypocritical, and unlike the other members of Doom Patrol, his hatred towards Niles stays pretty darn absolute. He literally refuses to burn his body just because he knows it'll bring Niles peace.
Go f*** yourself! You think I'm gonna help you get out of this house and live happily ever after?
As a result, as a character, Cliff is a massive moral paradox because he's legitimately a victim to someone else's evil actions. However, the uncomfortable truth is that Cliff's baby-like stagnation can only be solely credited to himself, because the person he is right now is not all that different than the person he was. He associated self-worth with self-destructive pleasures back then, and he does so now.
We're adults, Cliff. I've been open about my mistakes. Maybe it's time you were honest about yours.
I'm sorry. That would require me rising to the occasion.
And in most moments when he has to confront this, his default response is to either project his self-loathing onto others who have similar failures,
At least it was great till he shoved his grandpa the ear mug up my butt.
or go back to indulging in pleasures to make himself feel better. Therefore, his best side merely grows an inch every time when he's either under pressure or when he's with his daughter. And even then, later on, he almost f***s her over too.
Is it worth it? Fuck you! Fuck you too! Fuck you! Fuck you!
So a guy like Cliff doesn't really radically change overnight. He can mainly be corrected, and the person who tends to do that is Jane.
I mean that. F you.
I'm not gonna lie, I kinda hated this character when she first appeared because she has this f everyone else energy which really got on my nerves.
What is this shit? A fucked up Rushmore?
How many seasons is she in? Oh, all of them. Fuck. But by the end, I was like, darn, she has one of the most beautiful character arcs ever, because in contrast to Cliff, the person Jane is by the end of the show is a completely different person to where she was at the beginning. Because rather than focusing on someone who's held back by self-esteem, she's someone who has to develop self-care while being someone used to always providing care. To herself, actually. Jane is one of many personas of Kay Chalice, a little girl that was assaulted and tortured by her own father. The trauma then caused her to have dissociative identity disorder, where she now hosts 64 different personas, all who have different superpowers, interests, and personalities.
In the other goddamn room. You filthy!
And when they're not used, they hang out in the mental space of the underground as a community.
Hammerhead?
Yeah, Einstein.
Jane is uniquely positioned as the primary one, someone who makes the most decisions over Kay's well-being and acts as the primary protector.
I'm the only one who can be primary, and I f***ed up.
Therefore, Jane is now guarded, unwilling to tolerate anything that can resemble mistreatment, and because of the father issues, she initially provokes the f*** out of Cliff. In ways that you're like, Jesus. Jesus. Then of course, they form a real friendship where shockingly he doesn't become a father figure for her. Instead, she's actually the one who kinda parents him.
Well, I just want to say thank you for always calling me out of my bullshit. Oh yeah, Goose?
I am Maverick.
For always forgiving me for my bullshit.
Jane was created and spent her entire existence caring for a child, while Cliff originally neglected his.
There's a little girl alone in the back seat.
As a result, she does something Cliff doesn't. She deconstructs herself in order to really understand herself when Kay gains control at one time, and expressed only one wish, that Jane find a purpose beyond protection.
But that's not how it's supposed to work. I'm the one who looks out for her, not the other way around.
Initially, she can't figure any of this out. It's literally an unsolvable puzzle she's been left with, until the penultimate episode where she gets an opportunity to speak to Niles again via time travel.
You know, you might not believe this, but I have made progress.
That's just it. I don't know what it is.
Do the others?
The other lunatics in this house, I've actually become friends with.
I'm kind of on my own.
Oh no, you're not on your own. You always have us.
The others are extensions of your purpose. They've helped you survive. You've helped them. Maybe if you let it out, it might free you to do even more than you were designed for. More even than whatever this new purpose might be.
How do I even know I want a new purpose?
How about Kay? She's the one who created all of you to do the tasks that she can't. So maybe you solving your puzzle could free her to search for her peace.
So it makes sense why where Cliff goes home and dies, all of Kay's personas merge to create a new person who just wants to go to space to paint and be with someone who's also looking to explore more in life.
Well, if you're not just Jane, what should we call you?
There's one word I keep hearing in the back of my mind. Our minds. Kaleidoscope.
Here are two wildly different life branches, but they have comparable roots and shapes in terms of both characters start with a hierarchical sense of self-worth, where they look down or reject others to feel guarded as a response to trauma inflicted by their fathers. However, as they connect with each other, they develop a non-hierarchical horizontal view of themselves, because all of a sudden, the predictable thing in their life isn't just the painful past, but the comfort of all of these connections. Comfort which steers them towards healing themselves by delivering someone else's life. An act which leaves them both discarded in the end.
I'm so focused on being great, I forgot to be good.
When we deal with self-esteem, we're asking whether the individual considers himself adequate, a person of worth, not whether he considers himself superior to others. However, what happens when you put Cliff and Jane together, where you have a father who neglected his kids, but then he learns to look after himself and move forward into outer space? Well, you get Larry Trainor, the negative man. Bro was once 60s America's most beloved test pilot. He had a wife and kids, but here's the kicker. He was a closet gay man who stayed in the closet even after he got zapped by cosmic rays and hosted a negative spirit. As a result, in the face of not having a face, he pushes everyone away. His secret lover grew old without him. His wife's life imploded. One son knew he was alive but never got to see him again, and another son followed him in his footsteps. But upon seeing Larry again, he actually deep down inside hates him.
I had no idea I was carrying so much of it. The anger, the hatred.
So, Larry continues hating himself. However, Larry is also one of the most straightforwardly endearing and likable characters in the entire show, for just how darn affable he is.
First, I'm not in a time of need. I'm in a time of regret and self-loathing. Second, I doubt it's fame you're chasing by joining the Cloverton Players.
They're very well reviewed in the Cloverton Bugle.
I'll break a leg.
Unlike the rest of the cast, there's not a single ounce of narcissism in him at all, because he spends so much time looking down on himself that he has no inclination to do that to other people. So he just sort of reliably gets along with everyone. Even Jane. When everyone are tiny, he cooks for them, and when they're dead, he also looks after them. But his pro-social behavior doesn't translate to high self-esteem because it's blocked by shame.
Diagnosis. Good old-fashioned self-loathing with a healthy dash of codependency.
Every choice in Larry's life has always been motivated by fear. His marriage was done to appease his mother. His cosmic accident could have been avoided if he just had the balls to leave with his love.
The world has changed and you've stayed the same. Hiding out in the back of pickup trucks, holding up in out-of-the-way motels. Never breaking out of your damn box.
And he's continued to be driven by fear of getting hurt again.
You're afraid you don't know how to love.
The lack of agency in his own choices for decades has been what's leading to his poor outcomes, and thus making him accumulate even more guilt. However, shame and guilt are two very different things, as I've mentioned before. Shame is social, it comes from moral failures that we feel, whereas guilt is a more personal emotion. We tend to feel it when we fail our own standards. As a result, as times change and being gay is largely chill,
I'm gay!
Whoa, settle down, buddy.
What? Come on, no judgment here. I just thought Larry was about to come out, and that would have been so healing for him.
all that's left for Larry is guilt. Guilt which requires personal solutions, more than community ones. First, he has to acknowledge the reality he was subject to.
The threat of losing everything if anyone so much as questioned my sexuality.
Secondly, he has to forgive himself.
And even after I left, in my mind, I stayed. But maybe that doesn't count. Maybe you can't forgive me. But I forgive myself.
And finally, he has to be prepared to let love in.
One step at a time. I have a duty to myself. Yeah, you do.
And that final step comes in the form of becoming a father again. The negative spirit leaves Larry with a larva that turns into another negative spirit, someone Larry names Keeg.
And it's been beautiful.
This relationship is what opens Larry's heart to live again, to love again, and accept his fate. The fate of becoming a star because he's becoming dangerously unstable with all the negative energy inside him. So, in the end, he just sort of says, "F it." He rescues his lover and travels into deep space where he releases everything. Larry sheds everything to live freely beyond Earth in a loving union so great that it's literally on a cosmic level. Granted, I didn't really know what the f was going on, but I thought it was beautiful, this moment. As a symbolic pair, Larry and Cliff presents life with a very large but closed canvas, where life is expansive but still temporary. Therefore, the achievements of figuring yourself out isn't about advancement, but finishing your life your way. While Larry and Jane portrays how being concerned for the well-being of others isn't just beneficial for them, but it's a self-healing act because pro-social actions provide a framework for the formation of self-regulatory habits. However, what if you experience both guilt and narcissism? That's a different variation, and that's when we get to my favorite character, Rita Farr.
You want to talk turkey?
In this vast cast of antisocial outsiders, here's someone who's just in her own little world. She's like, ooh, all the time.
I know a little about flying.
Rita is the MVP. She holds the group together like Atlas holding the world.
I'm sure you all recognize the importance of what we're up against.
And in particularly, her relationship with Larry is just the most beautiful thing ever.
Let's be lost causes together.
However, Rita was trained from birth to become a famous Hollywood star, and she became one through opportunities that came from her mother sleeping with industry people. This discovery polluted the very core of Rita's self-worth, so she never felt like she really deserved her position. As a result, her armor came in the form of becoming the most vapid and entitled diva ever, where she'll get people fired just for being disabled.
He's an eyesore, Charles, a real liability.
What if we cover up the arm?
And when a young rising star got pregnant with the same producer she was banging, she refused to help her, leading to that girl's death.
But for a brief, guilt-soaked moment, I considered taking responsibility for the child. Then my phone rang.
Therefore, like Cliff, Rita's story is structured like a punishment narrative, where she pays for her sins through becoming a prisoner of her own body, because she became like this elastic, blob-like being after being exposed to gas from Niles.
Everything that happened to me on that picture, and everything that happened after, I deserved all of it. I too have spent a lifetime searching for absolution, but it will never come.
Like Cliff, she admits the bad person she was, but unlike Cliff, she actually makes peace with Niles and gets on with living, where she at one point became an acting teacher for teenagers, then tries to act in the community theatre.
We didn't feel it because you didn't feel it.
However, acting is still an expression of a core desire to still feel like she matters, despite how self-aware she is of this. So for her to truly transform, she needs to completely decouple her self-worth and attention away from the need to impress an audience. How does that happen? Well, heartbreak. When Rita was investigating Madame Rouge, the season 3 villain, she traveled back in time and ends up spending a lifetime with a community of pacifist artists who believe art can change the world. They're the Sisterhood of Dada, the people behind the eternal flagellation.
As Nietzsche once said, it takes chaos inside of us to give birth to the dancing star.
So, where Rita found safety and community with the Doom Patrol gang, she finds true kinship and authenticity with these guys, and even ends up finding love with a sweet dude called Malcolm, who carries a canary inside him.
I found you.
But during all this time with these characters, I remember distinctly thinking, when are they going to betray her? But actually, Madame Rouge, under the Department of Normalcy, weaponizes them, knowing they won't resist.
They won't fight back, they're pacifists!
Leading to Malcolm's death. And seeing that canary dead was pretty brutal.
I know you think I was only gone for a few days, but for me, it was an entire lifetime.
The key narrative pattern across Rita's story are surprising experiences, because more than anyone else, nothing ever goes as planned. But it's from surprise she learns it's not all about her. She's not the star of the story, but she's the one shepherding them. After a time with the pacifists, she's the one who turns the gang into a team of superheroes, which includes a reformed Madame Rouge. In the face of losing longevity, which means she'll die of old age, she continues to thanklessly look after everyone.
If I can do this, then...
Rita!
And when she does die of old age, she actually finds clarity in how it's better for everyone that she stays dead. They can like totally bring people back to life in the show.
Having each other meant we never had to spread our own wings. I'm doing this to set us all free.
Rita was the one who turned everyone into superheroes, and Rita's the reason why they stopped being superheroes, because the purpose of the Doom Patrol team was never supposed to be anyone's final stops. What superheroism did was make the characters recognize that they're all worthy enough to help others. Therefore, they're worthy enough to help themselves. And once they can believe that, they were finally free to look at themselves and truly carry on.
We have spent so much time trying to save the Doom Patrol. We're destroying ourselves. Moving on is one of the scariest things in the world.
However, there is one character whose future does include being a superhero, Victor Stone.
It'll work.
I saved him for the end because he's the biggest outlier. We all know his origin. He lost his mom and almost his own life, so then his dad, Silas, this time played by Martian Manhunter, saves him. But it leaves Victor in a state of constant alienation because he doesn't look normal anymore.
Great, delete my cache profile.
Like everyone, the character has a bit of guilt, has a bit of daddy issues, since Silas could have made him look normal, but he picked weapons and armors instead to protect him.
I'm sorry, Vic.
However, Victor's most singular theme is the idea that he's always playing make-believe, where despite being the most accomplished and effective member of the team, he's still a big, naive kid with an incredibly sheltered view of life.
Diagnosis: personality dysmorphia and social cowardice.
Cyborg's arc is a counterpoint to Rita's arc, because where she's punished by control, he's defined by being over-controlled, by his father, by the technology inside him, and the pressures he's imposed onto himself. Because when Victor was a little kid, the only black hero toy he could get was a black army man. It wasn't exactly what he wanted, but like a good boy, he put aside what he wanted and he reverse engineered his ideal self from this toy soldier. Therefore, Victor himself became a toy soldier, someone who don't have agency.
Dad said no more mistakes. I've had my orders.
Someone always listening to orders, someone who's always living up to expectations he didn't choose.
You saw the memory I came from.
I was a child.
You think anyone saw that?
That I was a child? No. I don't think anyone saw that or cared.
Well, I did. And on that day, I saw you go straight from being a 10-year-old child to a soldier, trying to please everyone, always saying the right things, never making a mistake. You became perfect, but you lost something very important.
My childhood.
That's correct, sir.
I'll never get that back.
Yeah, but you can make your own choices, man. And maybe instead of doing things that made you a good soldier, you can do some wrong things. You can make some strong choices, even if they're wrong.
So what does it mean to grow up? It means taking back control, even if the endpoint isn't a complete radical change. Victor removes all the visible cybernetics, which makes him way less useful because he's neither armored or have laser cannons.
Are you good?
But you know what? He continues being a hero because that was never the issue. The issue was consent and the belief that being good meant erasing himself.
Last time, I lost myself.
As a result, his story actually loops back around because he puts the cybernetics back in. Together, Victor and Rita's arc present the same core idea but from opposing angles. A life can only be yours when you stop letting other people define what it's for.
I don't know.
Victor, a man always knows why he moves the way he does.
Because we're all in this together. And everything that we do here in this classroom is gonna make a difference.
Doom Patrol is a show that's not just entertaining escapism or something to watch to take off your superhero watch list. It's so compelling that it actually opens your mind to whole new ways to look at yourself and at life. The whole show resists traditional superhero arcs centered around good defeating evil. I mean, there is a bit of that in the show, but the main focus is circling around trauma, relapse, and never-ending healing to demonstrate just how there isn't one way towards healing or change, because there isn't one way the world can hurt you. Life is fundamentally random and indifferent. Like Cliff, I didn't expect him to die so suddenly. Like the team, I thought they would carry on being superheroes forever after a whole season of them restoring the status quo. But as the characters learned, reality will rarely ever conform to expectations because horror, pain, and disappointment can suddenly always surprise you. Thus, old answers can become outdated in just a moment. The point of healing isn't to find control, but to find faith. So when it's time to dismantle the identities that helped heal the wound, it won't feel so scary. Instead, it should be exciting. It should be peaceful. It should make you feel real.
F you for giving me hope.
But as she watched, Rita was struck by how little of her life she'd actually chosen.
I just want you to know that you're loved and accepted.
I'm not done.
That's a new building next to the police station. What's it say?
Library.
You know how it is when you meet the chief.
Well then, Peter.
Best day of my life.
Your handwriting is an abomination.
Robot fingers.
When was the last time she followed her bliss?
I'm not a man. I used to be. I was a different person then.
Why the hell did you do it, Niles? To those people? You speak to me about compassion.
I deserved all of it.
Cyborg isn't me. I'm not happy like this.
I turned my sweet, delicious boy into a freak of nature.
Well, not all of us can afford to prioritize our happiness.
It gets lonely. Not touching anyone for 60 years.
You destroy everything! I will not let you destroy him! And it's time for me to grow up and be on my own.
No. We both suck.
That's one way to tell the story.
It's the truth.
It's the past.
Empty's a good word for it.
Here's the deal. If you're pissed as hell and you want to run, stay.
I'm proud of you. I hope you know that.
Sure.
Tomarás ese dolor y harás algo con él. Sobrevivirás.
Not here to criticize. I am here to say, keep going.
I'm very glad you came. Larry Trainer.
Have some fun. Find your
I'm
happiness.
sorry, Kay. It's okay. It feels better now.
Play. And then you take back what was taken from you.
You've always known. Just say it.
Every generation blames the one before, and all of that frustrations come beating on your door. I know that I'm
okay.
a prisoner.
Thank you for the advice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get on the road.
Okay.
To find myself, a way to get myself out of this world. You were not about, and I blame myself. I should have blamed myself, but that's what I've heard.
So this was the Doom Patrol video. This unintentionally became one of the most brutal videos to make, mainly because I didn't know how to approach it. The first version was going through the show season by season. However, each season was so interconnected with each other because of the cliffhangers and the way the arcs just transitioned to the next part. There wasn't really much of a way for me to engage with them as distinct seasonal stories. Furthermore, the show is such an ensemble that it would have meant I would have to reiterate where the characters were at constantly. So a compromise I came to was to talk about all the characters individually up until the final season, and then use the ending as a way to reflect and project a comprehensive theme and reading backwards onto everything else I was saying about the characters and stuff. But that too suffered from the same problem of spending too much time reiterating the characters. So I had to just go in via vibes and restart basically the entire video from the second paragraph onwards and just pick the most interesting thing that kind of landed as I was writing, like talking about narcissism and self-esteem, talking about guilt and shame. So I hope it worked out. Anyway, special thanks to everyone on Patreon. You guys totally rule. Hopefully I won't get stuck with working on Batwoman.
You're the best, Captain Marvel.
is the next time he tries to mug someone.
What if there isn't a next time? What if this is the moment that this kid turns his life around?